Hey, my creative friends, I have another fun idea for you. This one is more specific to cooler months when you would actually wear a flannel. You can pull one out of your closet. You can pull one out of your husband's closet. I have done a couple different types of projects with flannels, but this is the first time I'm doing this kind. And I think it is going to be fabulous because I see this particular type of item for sale all over social media, and it's actually pretty pricey. So I can just make it for myself, and I thought you might want to know how to also. So grab yourself a flannel from your closet, from your husband's closet, from the thrift store, wherever you want to get it. It doesn't matter. As long as it's in good shape. You want the flannel to be in good shape. Obviously, I'm going to run this through the washer and dryer. It's actually been washed already. I just run it through the dryer and freshen it up before I actually sell it. I'm going to be selling it. This one is going to be specific to Christmas because I chose this green and black flannel. It's still a lightweight flannel because we don't get super cold down here in the South. But, you know, you can even kind of wear it as a jacket. So a lightweight jacket. So, you know, there you go. There's that. So this one is obviously green and black. So again, I feel like this is more Christmas themed. So I'm going to put this aside. Before I do, I want to show you one other thing I like to do because the shirts that I'm making are, you know, geared towards women, and, you know, almost every flannel that you ever get is going to have a collar like this. I do a little something different. Now, I do this a lot with even my own crew neck t-shirts, but I cut along here. I will cut this collar part off. I don't know what you call that top part of the collar, the flap off. Okay. I will cut that all the way down here along the seam. And then that way it gives it kind of just a rounded small collar. I think a lot of women prefer that. Plus it makes it a little more, I don't know, a little more, less casual maybe. So I will cut that off all the way across and then save that because you never know what you might be, you know, we're crafters. You never know what you might need that little piece of green and black plaid flannel for, right? So that's what I'm showing you what I'm going to put it on. Now, what I am working with is, this is a part of an old sheet. So I had a sheet set that had this red piping or whatever you want to call it, ticking, whatever kind of pattern you want to call it. But it's a red stripe with the white. And I just cut a big chunk of it off. I think it was for a king size bed. So we've got plenty of room, plenty of fabric from it. So I just save it and I've used it for different projects. Sometimes I'll just cut up an old sheet and I'll cover a pillow, like a throw pillow with the fabric as well, just to give it something, you know, to change it up a little bit. So I've put this on my ink mat because we are going to put a design on this. And then once we have finished the design, I will heat set it. I'm not going to do all that on camera, but I will heat set the design and then I will attach it to the back of that flannel with some fabric glue. So this is pretty thin because, like I said, it is a sheet, but I thought it would work fun for this one. And wait till you see. I know you guys are going to love this one. It is super fun. It is a big transfer stencil that I have that just came out in 2024 with our holiday launch. And look at it. Resting Grinch face. That's what we're going to use, you guys, because that is so fun. Obviously, there's a lot of other really fun ones on here. We have tons of designs. I have bleached the back of flannel shirts before and inked designs on them as well, but I just thought this would be a fun change of pace because I just like the way it looks. So I'm going to take this part of the transfer stencil off and put the rest of it to the side. As you can see, it's sticky, right? It is basically a big sticker. This is a silk screen, reusable, self-adhesive transfer. Now, I am going to take it right off the back of the sheet and put it right on my piece of flannel. Maybe I will kind of try to save. You know, I don't want to waste. I am going to make sure I have it on where my ink pad is, the parts that I'm going to be inking. This, you know, the words. I am going to make sure that is on the ink pad. I want to leave a little bit of a border around it, you know, over here to the side, because I want a little border around the entire design. But otherwise, I mean, you don't have to have it perfect. I am going to try to line it up. Look, that works great. I'm going to line that T up with the line, and then the rest of it will just kind of fall in place from there, I think. Let's see, do I want to go over? I'm going to give it a little bit more just in case. Just in case. I'm going to move it over just a little bit more. So that T is kind of lining up on that, and that's giving me a guide right there, you guys. I can actually, I'm up too high. Hold on a second. I gotta find my ink mat. Okay, there we go. Oh, and fuzz. Okay, let's try it. Right here. Right here. And then everything's sticking to me. The transfer, the ink mat, because the ink mat is sticky. We want it to be sticky. All right, I'm gonna try to line my little T up down that stripe, and then we'll just press it down everywhere else. Press it down everywhere else, and then where you can see through it, that's where our design is going to be. I know it's kind of a busy pattern. If you don't like that, just get one, you know, like get a plain color, whatever color piece of fabric that you want. But this is what I had. Oh goodness, sorry guys. This is what I had on hand. I know I knocked something off my desk. Sorry about that. That scared me. Okay, so we're going to be using ink, Chalkology ink. This is available in my shop. I'm going to use black velvet for everything except for Grinch, and the stars I'm going to do in Meadow. Now, I do not have a bright green that would be Grinchy. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm a little afraid. I could add some white to this and make it a little bit brighter green, but I'm afraid that it might not show up as well because I feel like the darker it is, the better it's going to show up. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it with the meadow. But if you wanted to make this more of a Grinchy color, then I would say add a little bit more white, just a tiny bit of white to it to make it a little bit brighter. But, you know, it's completely up to you. Obviously, this isn't even going to exactly match that shirt, but it's going to coordinate with the shirt, right? Because we've got our red, we're pulling our red in, we're thinking Christmas, you know, Grinch. And we're also, I don't know, guys, I'm looking at this and I'm like, is it really kind of straight? I don't know. Let me see here. Let me go over just a little bit more. We're gonna reposition this. As I'm talking, I'm looking at it. You know, it's gonna go. It doesn't have to match perfectly, okay? So it's going to go together. All right, so that's the plan. So let's go ahead and get our ink open. Now, remember, when you're working with ink, this is permanent ink. So be careful with your fingers, or if you're worried about what clothing you're wearing, you know, make sure you're being careful so that you don't get it where you don't want it to be. Now, I'm going to pull out a couple different size of my squeegees to apply this so I can control it, okay? I am going to use, oh, look, I just noticed it's got his little smile in there. Okay. Oh, I don't know. I feel like that's too big. We're going to get a different one. Okay, so I'm going to pull the black ink directly out of my jar, okay? And we're just going to apply it right to the transfer stencil. You guys, these are reusable. The company will guarantee about a dozen times as long as you're taking care of it properly, which means you're washing it. For example, when we use ink, we suggest you wash it as soon as you get done because you don't want the ink to dry in your silk screen because then you can't get that out. Chalk paste you can with a little bit of elbow grease, but again, we always suggest you wash your transfers after you've done your project. So since I am recording this, I will not wash it as soon as I get done, but I'll spray a little water on it to keep it moist until I can take it over to the sink and wash it. Okay, so I'm just making sure all of the silk screen's covered, and then I'm pulling off any extra. That's what I'm doing right now. Just pulling off any extra ink that's on there that I don't need, okay? All right, and I'm gonna go down here. Now, since I'm working with ink and I'm working with a textile, I don't have to move as quickly as I would with chalk paste. Chalk paste dries in about 5 minutes or less, unless you have like a ceiling fan on or a really dry environment. It would dry quicker. But ink doesn't dry as quickly, and it seeps into your textile anyway, so you don't have to worry about rushing. You can take your time. You can use multiple colors. And again, that's the cool thing about DIY is that you get to choose what you want it to look like, how you want it to look, what you want to put it on. I mean, isn't this just the funnest? Let me know in comments, how else would you use this? What else would you put this on? Besides, like, you know, the obvious, a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, which is what I'll probably do as well. But what else would you put this on? Can you think of anything else that it would be fun on? You could do a sign. Obviously, I can't even get all that ink off of there. It's fine. I'm just going to shut that. And now we're going to pull out the green. We have a couple different shades of green for, and who knows, maybe one year. We have green chalk paste that looks like the Grinch color. But who knows, maybe one year we'll get an ink that will be like that too. I think that would be super fun. All right, so now I'm going to go over the word Grinch. And you don't even have to do that. You could have just kept it all black or done it all green. It's really up to you. Now, I use the ink mat because the ink can, I'm trying to be careful down here. I don't want to pick up the black because, you know, the tiniest bit of black added to any color will really make it darker. And I'm not trying to make it any darker. It's plenty dark. The green is plenty dark for me. But the ink will go through depending on how thick your material is. Obviously, this material is not very thick. So the ink will go through it. So you want to make sure you have something underneath it to protect your, whatever you have, whether it's a table or, you know, if it's a pillowcase cover, something like, I mean, a pillow cover would be fun, right? Whatever you have under it. So I have an ink mat, which is nice because it's sticky and it also holds everything in place. And if I have any wrinkles, I can smooth those out. So that's why I use my ink mats. So I'm just making sure everything's covered. As you can see, I'm just going over it, trying to be a little careful because I don't want to mix the color. I don't want to grab any of that black by accident. There's not a whole lot there with the black, but I just don't want to take a chance. So I'm going a little slow. But really, inking projects are pretty quick as far as the actual project itself. Now, the drying time, I usually let mine sit overnight, 24 hours at least to dry, or I hit it with the blow dryer because your ink has to be completely dry. And then once it's completely dry, you need to heat set it if you want to be able to throw it in the washer. Now, the only time you would use ink would be if it was something that you were going to wash, whether it was a mug, whether it was a textile, whatever you would actually wash, then you would use ink because you would need to heat set it to make it permanent. If you did this in chalk paste, you wouldn't be able to, well, you could throw it in the washer. I've never tried it. You could throw it in the washer, but it's going to come off. because it's just chalk paste. So that's why we use ink and we heat set it. Okay. And I do have a video for that. If you need it and you can't find it, please let me know in comments and I will be glad to forward you a link. All right. So you see everything's covered. So I'm going to pull it back and I am checking my fingers. I'm not too concerned because this is my scrap material, right? I have a bunch of this and I'm not even using this part of it, but let's see. This is the fun part. Do you see that? How cool is that, you guys? How cool is that? It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Okay, I'm just putting my transfer stencil over here. Now be careful, it's wet ink, so don't get it on you, on your clothes. I'm gonna spray some water on it until I can take it to the sink when I finish up the video. But basically this is all done. I'll dry it, I will heat set it, I will cut it. I'll, leave a little border around here. I'll cut it and then I'm going to adhere it to the sweatshirt. So make sure you stay tuned to the picture so that you can see the finished result. So I hope you like this idea and it inspired you. And if it does, let me know in comments. If you try something like this, let me know in comments. We have lots of designs. If you don't like this particular one, you can do the same thing with any of our designs. You can do it for fall with our fall sayings or fall images, pumpkins. We have henna pumpkins. They're really cool. We've had all different kinds of designs. We have ones with words. We have just pictures and images. You can do it for any kind of shirt, or even like it would be cool on a jean jacket or some kind of jacket. And even if you wanted to stitch it yourself, you could. I'm going to use fabric glue, which should be fine. But if you wanted to run a stitch around it, you certainly could do that. But I just think it's a really cool idea and it's a way to just take things up a notch. Again, this would be fun on a pillow cover as well, pillow slip cover as well. I do have those available in my online shop too. But if you have any questions about any of the products I used or the procedures, the techniques, please feel free to ask me. It might be the same question someone else has. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting me share my idea with you. And as always, until I see you next time, be safe, be healthy, be blessed, and be so inspired. Bye, guys.